Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for today's video, all you're gonna need is a t-shirt, a bodysuit, scissors, pins, needle and thread, or a sewing machine. So the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and lay your shirt out, and that clip you just saw was just how the shirt looked before. And we're gonna go ahead and open this shirt up so we can have two separate sections to use. So all I'm gonna do is basically just cut along the seam. So boom, now you see there's two pieces. You got that bottom piece right there, then you have that other piece. We're gonna move that out of the way, and the next thing you're gonna do is go ahead and fold that piece of that shirt perfectly in half. Grab that bodysuit, fold that in half, and place that on top of the shirt. And I'm just gonna pin that down. And also you want to make sure, just like in my last previous video, if you haven't seen it, you want to make sure you leave some space so that you have extra room, because it's not stretchy like this bottom bodysuit. So you want to make sure you leave some room. Do not leave too much room, because that's what you're going to see me do, and it's going to be too big, but it's fine because it's easy to fix rather than being too small. So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out now. So here's what we have, and I'm gonna just go ahead and pull those pins off and open that up, and say hello to Prince in the comments. You know he gotta make his debut sometimes. But yes, this is when I realized, no ma'am, this is just, that it was just too big. Watch. No ma'am. No ma'am, this is too big, way too big. So basically what you're gonna see me do is go ahead and fold it back in half, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it to where I want it to be. Now I lol, I eyeballed this for my size. So what you can do is you can try to make sure that you get it to the size you want by basically just cutting some off and then putting it up against you, and just making sure that it's not going to be too small. But I just went ahead and, as you can see, cut off that extra at the bottom, and I just kept cutting off some until I felt like I was happy for right now. So that's what you're going to see me doing. You don't have to do this step if you already cut it to the size that you want it to be. And I'm gonna also go ahead and cut off those little fake wannabe straps at the top. I'm just gonna go ahead and make it straight across. And yes, so that's what I just kept doing until I got it to the point where I liked it. I just kept on cutting. So yes, now you see me cutting off that extra part at the top, making it straight. And then once I felt like it was okay, as I just went ahead and laid it out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab that other piece of our shirt, and we're gonna lay that out, and we're gonna put the other one on top, so you can go ahead and cut out your second piece. And we're just gonna basically trace around this first piece. And I just want to say a disclaimer as well. I am not a professional in no way, shape, or form. I have taught myself how to do all of these things. So if you are watching and you see I'm doing something that is not correct, or whatever you may call it, you can drop it in the comments below. And you know what I'm saying, like I said, I'm learning as we go, and I'm teaching myself. So I'm not a professional, so yes. But now I'm just went ahead and, like I said, cut out that second piece. Here we go. And once again, I wasn't happy with the way it was looking. So what I went ahead and did was went ahead and folded it in half again. And I promise this is going to be the last time. Once again, if you feel like you're happy with the way the size of it already is, what you're going to do is go ahead and just leave it alone and skip this part right here. But I'm just getting it to where I like it. So yes, that's what you see me doing again. I'm just playing with it, getting it to where I want it to be. And I promise, like I said, this is going to be the last time I do this. So yes. And I know you're probably going to look at that bottom piece and be like, girl, what is that going to cover? But this is my second bodysuit. I'm still learning, and so I'm just it's just going to be made to be worn with bottoms. This is not a bodysuit that you can just wear out. I mean, you can, because it's up to you, but yes, I know that it's not really a big little area to cover down there, but it's going to be fine, because like I said, just put on some bottoms and boom. So yes, next step, go ahead and lay that second piece on top once again and make it even. And you would want to pin this down. Don't be like me and not pin it down. Just to be safe, pin it down so you can make sure it don't move and cut it out. So once you went ahead and cut out this second piece, what we're going to do is go ahead and hem around the edges that's going to be seen. The whole part of this bodysuit that you know is going to be seen, you're going to pin it so you can prepare it to be sewn down. And also don't mind my hair because it needed to get taken out. So yes, I'm finally happy with the shape. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and pin it down. This is what it looks like. Cute. I love it. And you're going to go ahead and sew that down. And this is what we have. Very cute. I love the stitching, and of course you don't have to use a different color thread if you don't want to. I just chose to do that. So yes, this is what it looks like. I love the stitching. So basically, instead of this being a regular bodysuit, I chose that I wanted it to have one side to be out. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew down that bottom piece, the private area. We're going to go ahead and sew that down. I just pinned it down, and I'm going to pin both sides, but I didn't sew both sides. I'm going to sew down the side that you see me pinning down now. And then we're going to leave the other side out. But you would want to do this. Make sure the bodysuit is inside out, of course, before you sew it down. So boom, I sewed down that side, and this is where you'll see I pinned down the other side, because we're going to need to hem the inside of that, because we're going to use our little strings to make a little tie side. So yes, so the bottom part and the side, and I'm just showing you again. And boom, you want to pin that down and prepare that so you can sew it once we finish this next step. So once you pin that down, we're going to go ahead and grab some extra of the shirt, and we're going to make our strings. And we're going to need 3 strings, and you can make it to the length that you want, but like I said, you would rather make it longer than shorter so that you can have something to work with. Because if you don't want it to be too long, you can always cut it. But if it's too short, that's a whole nother job. So yes, go ahead and grab some scrap of the shirt, and we're just gonna make our strings. And if you watch my second video, you will already have known how to do this. So if you haven't watched it, go ahead and go watch it. And yes, just go ahead and cut you some strings. The thickness and the length is up to you, but like I said, you should want it to be a little longer so that you can work around it if you have to. And I just like my strings to be long anyway. So yes, make 3 of them. Make sure you cut them out. And you're going to cut off the excess ends if it has some hemmed ends. And you're going to go ahead and stretch them lightly. Don't stretch them too hard because they can pop. Stretch them to get any of those imperfections out of the way. And then boom, you have your 3 strings.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
So once you go ahead and you have finished with your strings, you stretch them and you are done with them, we're gonna go ahead and grab another piece of strap shirt that you have left over. And it doesn't need to be nothing too big, it just needs to be like a little rectangular piece. I went ahead and sewed those parts now as well. Just a little like rectangle piece, like I'm gonna show you. Not too long and not too thick. Basically take you a little piece like this and you're just gonna fold it in half. And this is going to be our little loops for our strings to put the strings through. So yes, you'll sew down that whole piece just like this, and this is what you're going to have. And so the next thing we're going to do is basically just fold it over a little bit, and this is going to be where you'll measure how big you want the loop to be, and then you'll just cut it, and then boom, you have one loop. And then basically you're going to have 6 loops, so you would repeat this process twice, because you're going to need 6 in total. I only showed you 3, but you're going to need 6 in total, 3 for each side. So once again, sorry for how bright it is, but basically yes, you just take that piece, fold it in half. Well, fold the piece a little bit to see how big you want the loop. Make sure it's big enough to put the string through. Once you're satisfied, cut that and then use that first one to measure the other ones that you're gonna need, so they can be even, just like I'm doing. Just lay it on top and then cut and then cut. So then I just showed you 3. Make sure you do 3 more so you can have 3 for each side of your bodysuit. It's that simple. That's how it looks. Boom, fold it over. There's your loop. And I'm gonna show you again when I put it on the bodysuit. And here are our 3 little loops. So here we go. You see I have already sewed down those sides, but for this part, if you're using a different color thread, you would want to sew down the sides and the loops at the same time, so that you can have one straight stitch and you don't have to worry about sewing on top of another one. This is only if you're using a different color thread. If you're using a white thread, then this part wouldn't matter. You could just sew down. You could go ahead and hem the edges and then sew down the loops after. But like I said, if you're using a different color, you will want to do this at the same time. So I just showed you, just fold it over and pin it in place, and then all you're gonna do is go ahead and sew that down. You can see this is what our loops are gonna look like once you sew them down. So you're gonna go ahead and sew those loops down. And here's a better view. And here is our final product. I just went ahead and put those strings in there, but you can play with the strings and do it however you want to do it. But this is just the final look, guys. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really love this bodysuit. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.